This is the greenhouse update. Let's go check it out. Let me just close this. Alright, a lot has changed in the greenhouse. First thing is this shelf has been added in. It's a 3-level shelf. It was in my room and it had my birds on it, or one of my birds' cages on it. And I took it out and put the 2 cages on top of each other because they're both the same exact cage, rectangular cage. But anyways, I've got 2 trays of basil that 2 flats of basil that my landscaping teacher gave me. And he also gave me 3 coleus down there, which I transplanted into bigger pots. He also gave me a snapdragon, a sensitive plant. See how it closes up? Pretty cool. He gave me a pepper plant, and I put this in a bigger pot too. It was in just one of these. Tomato plant, green coleus, and 2 6-packs of coleus. He also gave me that pepper plant down there, which is in the aquaponics system, which I'll talk about in a second. Everything is doing really well, extremely well. These are all the tomatoes that I've grown. There's got to be at least 50 of them there. These are the cosmos and bachelor buttons. These are the zucchinis 2 weeks later from the last update, or the first video of my greenhouse. That one's the smallest one. These are all my cucumbers. These are all my squash. I got some pumpkins coming out. The peppers aren't doing too well. My friend gave me some lobelia, and I traded in my little thing of basil that would just started to grow, or actually hadn't. I knew it was gonna grow because I saw little like seedlings in there, whatever you want to call them, little tiny plants. But he gave me this, and there was one in here, but I accidentally covered it when I was watering it, so hopefully it comes back. That's that weed that I was experimenting with to see like how fast it grows, because I'm finding a ton of these around my yard, and I want to see if there's a homemade thing I can use to kill it, and I want to see how long it lasts without water too. These are the lettuces that I've started growing. I have one right there. There's a small group of them right there. I also have the beans in there from last time, and I also planted peas, which will grow up the chicken wire as well. That plant was in here last time. It's just on that shelf back there. We got some cucumbers back here. These are zinnias, which are probably my favorite flower out of the whole greenhouse. One it hadn't come up, and there's one that's just starting to come up. You can't quite see it; it's buried a little bit. And these are my sunflowers, just 2 weeks later from when I planted them. And I also got one come up in there. Excuse me. These are chives, which I found in my mom's old herb garden, which had come up at the beginning of spring on their own, so I didn't know they'd come back. The dill had come up in here, but not in here. Partially because I had a little bit of sand mixed in from my compost by accident in that 6-pack. This is Pachysandra. This was in here in the last video. It still has holes in the leaves. I don't know what it is. It might be a bug that's going for it. But this is the newest addition to my aquaponics system. This gutter. It's probably about 4 feet long. And how this system works now, it's different from last time. I've got a primary pump, which pumps it out over there. And then I got a secondary pump, which pumps up into the reservoir right here. And then from there, there's a third pump which pumps it up into this gutter. You can see, pumps it up into here, and the water runs along, drains out of this hole that I made, and comes down this and back into the grow bed, and then it drains out over there into the fish tank. The overflow for the reservoir had been changed. Before it was just drained back into the tank, but now it comes down into the grow bed as well. So there's 3 water inputs into this primary grow bed. Everything's doing well in here. This pepper plant, well, the marigold isn't, but I got this tomato, bachelor button, and these are lettuces that I picked from this garden over here. And that's pretty much it on the greenhouse. I use, the last video I had just a bucket of dirty water. Now it's blue water because I use this Miracle Grow all-purpose plant food you can mix in the water. And I also use this for my aquaponics system, stress design, which I add in for to add in live bacteria. And it actually really did what it was supposed to. All these just shot right up. And you can see my heat lamp's on right now because it's a little cold in here. I actually did get a heat lamp bulb, which is right here, but it burnt out. I think it was because we used it all throughout the winter for the chickens. I took it out of there. So now I've just got a 50 watt in here, which keeps it at a good temperature. But that's pretty much the greenhouse update. I don't know if I talked about this or not, but all the flowers are in here. They weren't covered, or half this was covered, and half it wasn't. But now I took the cover off these veggies and put them on the flowers to kind of enhance the growth. But that's pretty much it. My favorite part of this greenhouse is the aquaponics system. Got that zucchini and pepper, which will hopefully grow like really good. I'm gonna compare the growth rate. I know this pepper plant right there is a little smaller, or like half the size of this one, maybe a third the size of that one. But I'm gonna see if this will catch up to the size of that within like a week or so. So that's pretty much the greenhouse. Let's check that here. And close that. And that's the greenhouse.